Okay, talk about the gunplay and how to practice it. Factory, daytime, offline, PvE. We want easy scavs so they're not blacking our limbs as often. We ideally put it on horde, but it's not working right now, so we put it on high. You ready up? You want lots of bullets, a laser on your gun, hopefully something you use or can use often, loadout, because you want to practice the loadout you have. And you want meds if you don't want to restart every time you break a leg. Lots of bullets, though. We're going to go laser on at the start. Then you progress to laser off. You can try to perfect this, or laser on infrared, which is a little bit better. That's like the high-end thing. What I mean by infrared is this is laser on, red laser. I'm going to change the mode. The red circle around the center, that's an infrared laser, and that gives you the same hip fire bonus a laser does. So if I just turn on infrared, just like this, I don't screw with any scavs yet, you still get the hip fire spread bonus that you get from a laser. It's like a stats thing in the game. And this is how like most super high-end players play. However, we're going to play with laser on because I'm terrible at point fire. This is something I'm trying to get better at. So don't fault me for being bad at shooting. So how the shooting works in this game, I'm not going to waste a whole mag on this, but when you shoot once, the first bullet goes where you're pointing. The second bullet goes pretty high. So about here, let's say. This gun has low recoil, so it might be a little lower than that. But then it settles somewhere in between the 2 points. So low mark, high mark, settles somewhere in between. So you're going to pull down kind of hard at the start, and then you're going to actually want to come back up. So if I'm trying to keep this level, I pull down hard, then a little bit back up. Hard, a little bit back up. Like that. And then you want your spread to be just where, just where you're trying to get to. Let's see, what else? The same thing's true of point fire. So another huge thing for aiming that people don't realize is that when you're sprinting, in the beginning, you're on press sprint. So it's a toggle. And if you're running and you try to stop, you slide a little bit, right? So you actually have to cancel your sprint to regain control of your character better. So if you cancel your sprint, you're instantly able to do what you need to do. Turn 90 degrees right, 90 degrees left, or 180 degrees quickly. Your sprint literally halves your sensitivity or something like that. I don't know if it's like a factor or what, but it's really difficult to control your character when he's sprinting. It's like a momentum mechanic in the game. So you need to cancel your sprint. I personally run continuous sprint so that when I let go of shift, I'm ready to aim right away. But you can tap it again. You can train yourself to do toggle as well. So then how to practice. You can put it on single and just focus on head taps. That's like, I'd say one of the best ways. So if you if you bring an 8R in here, that's not bad. So basically I was way too low at the start, had to readjust and shoot him in the head, which is not super good. So I put this on full auto because I'm more interested in, can I react in a situation where I need to shoot somebody, especially at close quarters. So this kind of thing, it's pretty annoying because I don't want to practice ADSing, right? It's not something I want to do. So I would actually run up on this guy and see what I can do. So I lose my laser in this light, which makes it really hard to deal with. But you kind of get the idea. One thing I think is really useful, because your sensitivity ultimately is about you knowing your character's limits and how to control it and what the movements are about. If you go up here and you do things like, for instance, on this thing down here, you come here to the end, you walk off the edge, and then you walk inside, you can drop without breaking your legs. One of the things you'll see really good players is they do that while they're sprinting very quickly. They kind of understand the limits of their character. Also, because there aren't that many scavs even on high mode, I will shoot lights and things like this with point fire to kind of practice. See what I can do, So I would have been dead there because my gun was down, because I have a long barreled gun and I was coming around the corner too close. So you got to keep that in mind. This corner here, the best players Seem to come up to it, cancel their sprint. It's so hard to do. They cancel their sprint, crouch, and lean out just far enough that they can see over the top of this filing cabinet at the end. I can't really master this movement very well. It's really hard for me. So generally what I do is I shoulder peek. If they're there, that's great. And then I aim, and then I'll try to shoot. One thing is if you're crouching while you're moving back to forth, your horizontal sway on the gun is much more controllable. If you're full standing up, ADSing and shooting, your sway is pretty freaking huge. If you like look at it, it's pretty hard, especially if you change directions, by the way. So one nice thing is if you're going to shoot like that, stop sprinting, crouch, and then you can continuously move. And by the way, you still have to control the recoil, right? So if you come up here and you practice the sprint thing, you come to the end. Wow, we dodged a bullet. I literally can't see this guy. They duck under your shots so often, it's actually nutty. And when you do ADS like that, like I wouldn't sit there looking at the target for a long time and trying to acquire it. I would literally look at him, try to ADS and shoot him in the head immediately, because that's what the real life scenario is going to be, rather than trying to acquire the target. If you take too long to acquire the target, it's kind of a wasted exercise, right? So like it's kind of like a flick exercise in other games. You might look here and try to shoot this thing. I'm ADSing here. You know, it's like that's sort of useful because you do want your flick training to be there. That's essentially what this is, right? Another way to practice is if you look at that same light, if you're going to come around the corner and there might be someone there, you might try to do that. Like come around the corner, look, try to pick a spot. Ideally it's head level, but I mean, it doesn't matter that much, and try to keep your spray on target from the moment you come through the threshold, right? And that's avoiding your sprint stop like this, because if I do that, like I'm going to try the same thing, but kind of mess it up. I can't even do it because I'm on sprint continuous, but you can really mess it up, and essentially you'll end up looking this way because your sensitivity is so screwed up, and the person's just going to kill you. But if you insta-flick, because of peeker's advantage, you can kill. You just have to be on target and usually in the head, because especially if you have low armor, your thorax, even if they shoot you in the thorax, it's going to be 1 or 2 bullets and you're dead. We're just looking for some scabs. Like this guy, I wouldn't really want to waste my time on that because he was ducking there, and I would try to come around a threshold and see if I can shoot him. Because that's your assumption whenever you're peeking around a corner like that, is there's a player there, right? And a lot of times you'll see the best players shoulder peek, come back, shoulder peek, come back, and then shoot. Because shoulder peeking in this game is extremely OP. It's very difficult to shoot someone if they just peek out. And you're trying to get a snapshot of where people are. And the very best players will shoulder peek once, shoulder peek a second time, and then hip fire you to death in the head because they've sort of found you. So one thing you can practice is, like, if you're from this distance and you're trying to control the recoil, just keep it on there. Keep it on the light if you can. A single step sprint is actually really bad because it sort of keeps your gun in a bad spot. So if you're going to sprint, at least 2 steps is, or at least 1 full step is really what you need. You don't want to half step it. And that's really it. I think it's really good to practice that movement stuff. Oh, I literally trying to ADS, hit Alt to hold breath, and I jumped. That'd kill you for sure. So that's a hip fire with no laser in the head. That's what you're looking to try to do in the end. I think I'm out of bullets. We're all out. That's it.